Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to go ahead and start work on chapter 11. And if I can load the PowerPoint like we've got it now. Okay. We're looking at chapter 11, audiovisual technologies. So what are AV technologies? Well, one of the things about lessons that are delivered with audiovisual support is that they're more engaging for students than lectures alone. So instead of you and I just standing up there and talking to students, they can see both whatever we're talking about going on right in front of them in the form of a video or animation, as well as get the auditory information spoken to them by either ourselves or someone else that did the video. And so that will certainly help to kind of keep their attention rather than just listening to somebody read out the book. AV helps build multiple cognitive connections to content presented. Certainly, like we're using like two different learning styles, like visual learners and also auditory. And so we ought to reach more of our students. And then what they can do is sort of kind of draw connections with that kind of AV material, kind of initialize a little higher order thinking. AV's advanced a great deal, but the principle of its use hasn't changed, and that's pretty much for instruction. Obviously, the technology has gotten better as we've gone on, but let's face it, sound recordings have been around for a long time. But it's important for us as teachers to be aware of AV and how to use it effectively. Let's know what it can do for us and then how we can integrate it into our lessons in an effective manner. Now, listening in and of itself is a two-part process that includes both hearing and comprehending audio. Certainly, the mechanics of listening, the sound being generated, sound waves go into our ear and vibrate our eardrum, and then those vibrations are then sent to our brains, and we can then listen and hear what is being said. Now, it's one thing to hear it, but it's another thing to comprehend it, and so that takes place in our brains that we can just kind of start processing that information and trying to draw some conclusions from it or make some sense of it. And certainly us as teachers, we can help students to acquire, improve, and apply learning skills. You and I can give very clear, audible signals to students that they should be listening. Like, this will be on your test. This is a safety procedure that you need to follow in order not to get hurt. And those kinds of auditory clues will help students focus. And certainly they need to utilize focused listening where they are concentrating on what is being said to the best of their ability. And then once that information has been passed on, the process that information to reinforce the messages received. You and I can do that very, very well as vocational educators, because many times what we'll do is, excuse me, give a set of directions to a student in order to do a project or to do a lesson for us. And then once we get done, then they can go ahead and do whatever they've been told. And like that, they get that kind of immediate reinforcement. So the lecture demonstration model works very, very well. Now, traditional audio media, we have the good old audio cassette. They're cheap, durable, easy to use, easy to keep track of. We can usually get cases to hold those things in there. And all we have to do is just pop them in and out of our cassette player. They use magnetic tape to record and play back voice, music, and other sounds. That's the process behind it. And so we can use it in a learning center or with small groups or large group instruction, or basically individualized instruction for that matter. And so it's effective over a wide range of audiences. They can be used for many type of projects like talking books, multimedia kits, oral histories, journals, etc. And so we can do a whole lot of things with the audio cassette. Now today we've moved up to digital audio media, and we'll be talking about optical media, or CDs. They have better clarity and a larger storage capacity than audio cassettes. Audio cassette might have been good for maybe 30 minutes, maybe 60 minutes max. We can hold hours of sound on a CD or DVD. They're easy to use. You just pop them into your player, listen to them, stop them, start them, pause them, fast forward, whatever you want to do. You can quickly, like I said, quickly access the target audio with most audio players. The discs themselves are durable and portable. Not a problem to be able to store them and store a large number of them, and also to copy them. I mean, if we can copy that information, we can, have a classroom set, and then in case one of them goes bad, we can have a backup, so we're not in a bind whenever we would break audio cassettes. It would take quite a bit of time to try to splice those tapes, and then once we spliced them, we lost that portion of the audio from that damaged portion that we cut out. They're inexpensive, and they come in a number of different formats, like the CD readable or the CD read writable, so that we can just read them themselves or record on them. Now, internet audio is another option for us. It's an alternative to CDs. You can just download legally available audio in a WAV or MP3 compressed format and play it. Now you'll need some kind of software media player, but usually there's a lot of free ones out there on the web that you can download to play back your audio. MP3 files are popular because of its small file size, which help us to upload or download those files very, very easily. The MP3 players or playback software include playback controls that may include visualization, so that you can kind of visualize and see the sounds to kind of know exactly where you are in that recording. But normally most of these players have all kinds of audio controls on them that you can use to play back and as well as sometimes edit your audio file. A lot of these are typically music, but they can also include other types of audio. Internet radio. Many radio stations will use streaming media to simultaneously broadcast via the web as well as the airwaves. If you have Windows 8 and you install it, you have what is called iHeartRadio. Got a I with a heart and a radio. And what iHeartRadio does is basically hook you up to radio stations all across the United States and sometimes even the world that have live streaming audio. And so you can listen to whatever your musical tastes are from stations all over the place. And so many radio stations utilize live streaming right now. And like I said, both U.S. and international stations are available. And so, certainly if you're a Spanish or a foreign language teacher, it'd be great to be able to get access to those kinds of foreign language radio stations to give your students practice listening to that foreign language. And then we have some radio stations that are online only. I mean, you and I can't catch them on our AM or FM radio. They are literally digital internet websites. Your internet radio can include music, news, talk stations from all over the place. And so let's kind of shift gears now to visual technologies and look at visual literacy. Good visual design supports visual learning and does not confuse message. Relevance, message coherence and consistency, message proportion, message contrast. And so whenever you're trying to present a message to a viewer, your internet site and the visual impact of that site needs to stress relevance, coherence and consistency, a sense of proportion, how everything's kind of laid out, and contrast, where there are some differences in brightness and color within the website to be able to kind of draw your user to certain components of the website. And unity and direction. All of the components of that website ought to fit together and provide easy direction for the user to find information, to locate information, to move from or hyperlink from page to page. So here you see good visual design versus rather plain. See how we got all the color here, backgrounds, got different colors for our topics here, other than just seeing a white background that with a number of pictures that are just kind of dropped there just to kind of make a impression. Here we have graphic representations of every one of these three type of sea creatures. You can see how we're a little bit more I guess what's the word is spare in our use of graphics, but it's way more impressive to let the reader see examples here than just to see them kind of all bunched up together at the bottom. And you see how the fonts here just kind of don't have any kind of consistency. This very, very poor visual design. So here's some visual design basics. So visual design will include the visual, text, and effective elements of the web page. So on the visual side, any kind of graphic symbols, real, pictures of real objects, and organizational elements usually make the visual side of our website presentation more effective. Then the text basically deals with the size and spacing, color, the type of font that we're going to be using. Some fonts are easier to read than others. Some look good, but the thing is, many times if it looks good and you have to squint to read it, or you're sort of defeating your purpose. So you really have to look at what type of font that you want to use that's going to effectively grab your reader's attention and make them read to get the message that you want them to get. And then your effective elements, these are visual components that can elicit responses from viewers. And so you can have all kinds of buttons and hyperlinks and things like that that the student or user is going to have to click on and get involved with on the website in order to move from topic to topic to topic. So what are non-projected visuals? Well, many classrooms have one of the most common, a bulletin board. You can go out there and staple or tack up information, or else create a kind of visual component to your bulletin board with color and pictures and things like that to kind of dress up and focus the person looking at it to the information that you're trying to get across. But it's an easy to change platform for graphic elements. We move them in there. Flip charts is another one. They're great for impromptu illustrations, and you can save the images by tearing off pages and then stapling them together or saving them for the next presentation. Then we get our good old chalk blackboard or chalkboard and today's whiteboard. They're a very common and easy way to display text and images. And here you see some examples of them. I think most classrooms have probably one of these with these bulletin boards, but then you see I taught a number of classes with flip charts. I haven't seen these other than maybe elementary school, the magnetic board, and then a felt board is very effective for maybe elementary and maybe junior high students. And here you see one that's doing a lesson on money. Then of course you have the whiteboard, which is, I guess, a relatively new technology. Now, if we really want to get uh, impressive, it would be great to bring real objects into the classroom, and many of our vocational classrooms have that, like in the mechanics labs, auto mechanics or diesel mechanics. We can have actual engines that a student can look at, touch, feel, put together, tear down. Sometimes, we can do that. Sometimes we can't. But nevertheless, those are very, very powerful visual aids for us to use in our teaching. Now, if we can't afford the real thing, sometimes what we can do is get by with a model, which represents real objects or concepts. I remember our nurses had a lot of models, like the digestive system, the circulatory system, where they could take the heart out and then take the lungs and all the other parts of the body and kind of show how they all fit together. And so our department still uses these from time to time. Exhibits. Displays are dioramas that illustrate instructional content. These are a little bit more complex, or sometimes the displays are kind of broken up and may have cutouts of different kinds of models and things like that. I know I attended the LAGCO show, the Louisiana Oil and Gas Exposition in Lafayette about a couple of weeks ago, and many of the oil companies had their latest and greatest technologies exhibited out there for all the world to see, and many of them had cutaway sections on some of their downhole tools and all of their pumps and things like that. So a lot of money was spent on that, but yet it made for some very, very impressive visual appeal. And of course, we got print materials like books, worksheets, posters, charts, etc., that you and I copy and create. Then we got our graphics and photographs, which are basically pictures of what we're talking about. They'll illustrate, clarify, and certainly help to add interest on the part of our students. Now, what are some technologies for traditional projected visuals? Well, we go back to the 20th century and the overhead projectors, which basically had a light source inside there and kind of projected it up through a screen to a little mirror that then projected to a screen on our walls. You could have either clear or colored plastic sheets, and it certainly helped to kind of blow up the information so that everyone could see it and read it. And we would create transparencies, which we would either draw or print it with inkjet or laser printers, or we could copy them or create them by hand before or during use. I remember just having clear acetate sheets where I would sit down and write like I would on a chalkboard on the overhead projector. But then I had to have a rag that was wet or a paper towel that was wet, so if I had to erase, I could erase and start all over again. So I always had myself a roll of paper towels by me. Now, Many times, publishers had commercial transparencies that they made for you to buy or to get for free whenever you would adopt a textbook. I still have some of these old ones, especially for environmental science. Very good transparencies. But today we can create transparencies with a lot of different type of software programs. Some that are really easy to use, like Word or Word Perfect. Then we can draw stuff with program like Paint or something like that, and certainly use Excel or some spreadsheet program to create realistic spreadsheets. Then we've got digital projectors. And these, I guess, are the state of the art today. They'll project large images or digital images up to a wall, and the source for those images can either be a computer, digital camera, photo CDs, videotapes, DVDs. If it's digital, it can be shown on a digital projector. They're very versatile. There's a lot of different varieties that you can get for all kinds of applications, and they're very popular, very common. Today's most PCs and laptops today already have applications built into them that will help you connect to a digital projector very, very easily. Then we got our document cameras. All it is a video camera that's mounted on a stand that will capture and display a video image of what's underneath it. And of course, you can use either a monitor or a digital projector to display that image. And what's nice about those things is that you can zoom in and show some really fine detail on small objects. Now, what about video? Video has undergone a major revolution from silent films to black and white TV, videotape, and DVD to today's internet compressed video. You and I can get high definition video that we can download to our computers and view. That is outstanding. It has very high potential for education, but certainly can be challenging to use effectively. And so here's an example of our broadcast video, which is also known as television. And so TV images are delivered via terrestrial and satellite equipment. So you can see how, you have yourself an uplink right here. Goes to a satellite and is kind of linked from place to place, and then downlink to some site, and then distributed to all the users. And certainly programs are uplinked to satellites and downlinked back to Earth. Now, broadcast video, regular TV like ABC, CNN, Discovery, will offer its content with commercials. Public TV or PBS will offer some educational programming and is supported by the government and viewers who make contributions in and of themselves. If you ever watch LPB, every so often they'll have a telethon where they will collect all kinds of contributions from people who, watch public television. I know for a long time public television had a GED program early in the morning, like from 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock in the morning before they would start their children's programming. And I can remember watching, you know, a number of those shows, and from time to time they would put out a schedule for teachers saying, okay, this month we would cover, let's say, American history. The next month would be Algebra 1. Next month would be Algebra 2, things like that. So um, those that were working on their GEDs, or certainly GED teachers, could go ahead and set their VCRs to tape those lessons um, for later viewing based on that schedule. So I don't know if they still do it now, but it was a innovative way to do adult learning. And then local learning channels offer targeted educational programs. You can get all kinds of local and commercial channels like Discovery Channel, History Channel, all of those. Then you got your broadcast video, which will pretty much have programs typically in high quality, high impact productions, where they take time, they spend the money to do it right. Now, the synchronous nature of TV makes it difficult to use in time restrictive classrooms, and so because television can do and show what is going on right now, it's very hard to kind of package live television into 55-minute or 1 hour blocks of time. One personal example of that was when I was in high school. I can vividly remember when Apollo 13 got into had that accident on the way to the moon. And a couple of our teachers at Iota High had their televisions there in their classrooms. And the whole world was focused on that accident. And so many of our teachers let us go and watch all the proceedings there in those teachers' classrooms, and I remember sitting on the floor, and we were kind of like sardines there watching that, and especially the day that they got back to Earth, you could just kind of cut the tension with a knife there in our classrooms, because nobody knew what was going to happen. Were they going to make it back? Were they going to burn up? Coming home? And so you just didn't get that in just 60 minute or 60-second blocks. And so we just basically sat there for hours watching that. And it was a very educational experience, one that certainly I'll never forget. But those kinds of things are very powerful learning tools. And then those time limitations may be overcome by recording broadcast if copyright permits. So if you and I can record them, and they don't happen during our particular time frame, we can record them and play them if we have the right to do so. An alternative to broadcast video is narrowcast video. This video can be targeted to a specific audience, like us as educators, and it's usually distributed over a closed circuit television network in a school. And so it can kind of focus on a particular district or for its instructional needs. And it also can be used to share school news and other information. And so this, many sometimes these companies will contract with the local school agencies. Uh, I want to say here in Acadia Parish, they used something called Channel One, I think, which was on like 15 minutes a day, and it was pretty much a news type of channel. And so a lot of students would view that during their homeroom periods during the beginning of school day. And of course, you got your cable cast video. And so normally most of them will have a channel or more channels for schools or public use. And they can be transmitted over the same cable network as all the other commercial users. And obviously, you've got some high quality cable television shows like CNN, Discovery, Learning Channel, which can really be used to enhance a lot of our classroom instruction. And here you see a number of ways that schools can get video via microwave. Some television station will have a microwave antenna, and then you get a microwave receiver, and so you can kind of tap the signal like that. Closed circuit television, which will go by cable, and then of course your regular cable television that has a satellite downlink and then taps into the cable network that's laid out, and then schools just utilize portion of that. Then we got recorded video. This video is asynchronous. That means it's not happening right now. It's been taped and is usually available in a number of formats. Your regular video cassette recorder or digital video disc recorder, DVR or VCR can play the video that's either been recorded on a VHS tape or a DVD. And this could be pre-recorded content from a broadcast that occurred, outside of school time. I know I at one time, and I can't remember exactly exactly what topic that I had looked at, but there was a television show that had aired, and I think I made a request to ABC for a copy of that program, and they sent me a DVD of it, and really all I had to do was to pay the shipping for it. But sometimes certain television stations will allow you to get copies of that. Then, of course, you got your camcorder where you can produce your own little video. We've done that at our school. Now, in a way of recorded video, you and I can go out there and buy some commercially developed tapes or DVDs and certainly pay quite a bit for them. And any kind of playback is easy to schedule into our classroom time, because all we got to do is have the equipment set up and ready to go. And certainly our monitors or our digital projector can throw that image up for our students to see from all parts of the classroom. Here's some basics about digital video. Video compression is a system of that helps kind of reduce the file size to more manageable sizes so that we can download, upload them. And so if you're going to use compressed video, then you need to have some kind of compression playback software that will then decompress it to its normal state. There are a number of media players that'll do that: Microsoft Media Player, Real Player, QuickTime, and others like that will play back video very, very easily. Here's some basics about digital video. AVI, MPEG, and MOV are the most popular compression formats, but you got to make sure that your player can support whatever format you're using. Then we've got our DVDs, or digital versatile discs. They constitute a major upgrade on VHS or CD medium. They can store up to 4.7 gigabytes of digital video on each side. We are now up to 8.4 gigabytes on the side, and so basically they've doubled. It'll allow for clear image playback when we pause them, or go frame by frame. If you want to slow the movement down, you don't lose any kind of quality on your picture. And so many of the players will have ways that you and I can directly access any frame or sequence on the DVD itself. You've got a number of types called your DVD-R, which are DVD readable, or your DVD, and this is important. You'll see, let me kind of draw your attention right here where it says plus minus read writable, which means that you can read it or burn to the disk. But the plus minus is the format, and these formats are not compatible with each other. If you have a video that is recorded in the minus format, then you're going to need a minus player, or a player that will play plus and minus, because if you don't, you're not going to play your video. You either have to have a minus player or a plus player, or one that does both, and they're not that hard to find. Your digital video cameras will capture and store moving images as digital rather than analog files, and that allows you to download them very, very quickly and then manipulate them in a variety of ways. You download your digital files to the computer and edit them with the software that usually comes with the camera. And you can certainly play them back over a computer monitor or a digital projector. And then you can also insert them into emails or to PowerPoints. You got all kinds of possibilities that you can utilize to link to videos. When it comes to digital video editing, there's all kinds of software out there that allow us to do that. You and I can then add some instructional annotations or special effects to the video. Got all kinds of options. And so you can then sometimes cut and splice your clips and rearrange them for better visual emphasis and instructional emphasis. we also have what is called compressed video systems, or CVS. We need this because of some of the limited bandwidth that some of our schools have in their network systems. You can transmit live compressed video images. Compressed video systems are usually dedicated and often room-sized systems. But what they'll do for you is to offer real-time interactive live video interaction to multiple locations. So let's say if I've got a compressed video system there in my classroom and I wanted to hook up to one of your classrooms, we would just agree on a regular time and then dial into each other's systems, and like that we would have real-time synchronous video of each of our classrooms, and then we could ask questions, do any kind of teaching we would want, and then whenever we're done, we shut the system down. Then we got internet video broadcasts. These compressed video images can also be transmitted via the internet. Streaming video allows viewing while downloading, thus shortening the wait time. So while you're watching a video, you can have it simultaneously being downloaded to your PC. And so like that, you don't have to wait hours for that to happen. And so they also have a cost factor. They're much more affordable than television production and distributions systems. We can get by with pennies on the dollar for internet video broadcasts, or have them free. Then you've got your internet video, or live cams. These are live little television cameras connected to computers and logged on to the internet, showing continuous live digital video. You can go to many municipalities in the United States and get live internet video of like traffic in that area, or else pictures of that city or town, showing what the weather looks like during that day, or of some kind of monument, maybe in Washington, D.C., to see what kind of crowds are going out there, or else to see, like in the case of the Tomb of the Unknown Soldiers, to watch the guard going through his or her paces, guarding that monument. One of my favorites was when you go to the NASA website. Back when they were flying the space shuttles, you could go to, I guess they called it NASA Cam, and you could watch them getting one of those space shuttles ready to launch, 2 or 3 days before it would happen. Many live cameras are focused on subjects of educational interest. Like I said, you'll have a live feed there. I think some zoos have live webcams to kind of show, maybe a new panda that's growing, or maybe a new baby elephant or baby penguin that are hatched, to kind of watch and see how they're growing. Here's an example. Students can view EarthCam live by visiting the site www.earthcam.com, and that's just a live streaming site. Then we can have internet video meetings. These are live digital video across the net for virtual meetings, and so you and I don't have to be there in one spot to be able to see and to speak with others in our organization. In addition to the video, meeting software can also include shared workspaces, shared virtual electronic whiteboards, and chat, so we can have a lot of interaction, do a lot of creative things, um, write down all kinds of information, just like if we were sitting in a meeting room. Teachers and educators can adapt meeting software for class collaborations elsewhere in the district or around the globe. So we aren't limited to just our classroom using this type of net meeting software. We can meet with anyone, anywhere that's got internet access. So that opens up all kinds of new possibilities for us. And so these videos in any format can be an invaluable teaching tool to us. And they can kind of alter time and space through shifting the viewer's location. So instead of being in a classroom, you can see a video of something going on halfway around the world, real time. You can kind of take advantage of slow motion replays or time lapse photography to kind of see some details that you might miss. And so certainly they can be used to simulate historical or future events. One of the most fascinating uses of this kind of information, I remember watching on the History Channel for a number of days. They had something about the Civil War. Some of the battles that were fought, where they had animations of how the armies moved from one place to another, and how, just anything could have happened to kind of change the tide of that battle if somebody would have moved or waited or been a little earlier. Or sometimes they were in the wrong place where they should have been some other place. That could have changed the whole tide of the Civil War. And so this is really stimulating and fascinating ways to deliver that kind of information to people. And it can support learning when carefully evaluated, and that's what the key. You and I have got to evaluate this before we utilize to see if it's appropriate or not. Now, when it comes to creating videos, we can have either teacher or student-made videos can offer creative learning opportunities that support the lessons being taught. And so one way to learn something about, let's say, math is to make a math video. Students will be able to learn how to use the software, do the recording, and then they'll have to develop a lesson and maybe kind of come up with some kind of creative way to present that lesson so that somebody can learn that math concept. And so it just offers a lot of different opportunities for us in teaching that we may not have before. And remember that planning phases is more difficult than the shooting phase. Shooting the video is the easy part. It's getting everything set up and understanding exactly what it is you need to do and how you need to do it before you get ready to film it. Because filming, you can always start over again. But it's knowing what you need to do, which is important. And storyboarding is one way to kind of make that happen. Like it says, you can storyboard to prepare for the recording and then use the full potential of the motion that you have available with the camera. And here are a few tips for creating videos. You can kind of take a look at. Here's a few little tips to kind of look at when creating videos. Parental permission is required to use images of students. So if you're going to have some students in the video, you need to have release forms for all of those students. It's signed by the parents. Now, of course, if you have adults, you still need the release forms. One of the things we did at our school during the orientation phase of our new students, it was that our student services had release forms. One of the things they did was to sign a release form. And so if somebody came in, wanted to take pictures of the class, all of them were all on file there in the front office in our students' permanent record card or file. And like that, never had any problems. And of course, there may be some policies, some kind of guidelines within your educational institution regarding videos, so adhere to those policies. And last but not least, comply with the federal and state copyright laws. Then when it comes to implementing your video, you want to use video strengths to make compelling video. You want this to really make an impact on the student. But you want to preview the video and test in a test setting before sharing it with an audience. Go through it one time with somebody that could kind of help critique it for you before you go out there and use it. Then to prepare to show it to a group, check your equipment, make sure that it works, because electronic equipment and computers are wonderful pieces of technology, but usually whenever you need them, sometimes something goes wrong and they don't work. Then check the environment that you're going to be doing the presentation in. Check for the lighting, sound, and seating to make sure that everybody can hear, see it, and are comfortable as they're viewing it. Video will certainly help to engage the learner by reviewing concepts and discussing objectives. You can prepare and use a video study guide to kind of help get your students ready for tests. One of the wonderful things about videos, you can pause it anywhere you want it and ask questions or get questions from the class or audience. You can structure your discussions as key points or at the end to give an assignment to reinforce your content. And then be prepared to respond to student reactions to emotional content. Sometimes, depending upon what's being shown, it may affect some students emotionally, and so be prepared for that. So, this was a fairly long video or lecture and PowerPoint, but yet had some really good information for us. And so I will go ahead and end this video right here and move on and get ready for chapter 12.